跑个起源了，白痴，智障。No， 真的很白痴欸。等我一下，白痴哦！还有080显卡，不要吧，不要吧，不需要吧。白痴的 FF 呢，既难玩又……决定来去看一下埃及博物馆，那张太大张了。哼，你是魔国。来哟，玩起源喽！这应该是要用original， 这样子，这样应该可以吧？而且我起源的进度也是全部丢失了，我连开进去玩的动力也没有，只能玩发现之旅就好了。起源很久没打了，是人不是很久以前的上限吗？还有后来上限等级上限有改是不是？哦，是哦。还跑一个城市的博物馆就关台了。耶！我直接被打回26等，我就不想玩，我就没有再打开过。打勾是导览过的吧？这个忘记我上次有没有开台了。忘记我上次有没有开台？我上次到底有没有开台跑这个啊？哦，好像没有。好哦，没关系。哎呀，反正还有很多蓝蓝的可以看。Go！画面怎么跑开了？怎么会这样子？嘿， 是不是刚才强迫症大爆发？超想要把它放置中的。偏安，偏安，白痴哦、开始导览。
Welcome to Alexandria, city of celebration. Like most Greek cities, Alexandria offered multiple forms of entertainment. Most were related to cults, religious practices, and the festivities surrounding those practices. Among those festivities, the most important ones were the dynastic celebrations, instituted in honor of the deified Ptolemaic kings and queens. These celebrations could go on for many days and included sacrifices, offerings, processions, and public banquets.
你确定这个是在跳舞，不是在霸凌吗？你确定这个是在跳舞，不是在霸凌，然后的瞬间被抓到吗？希腊博物馆没有错啦。我想换一个人的，换个人物，我要选卡莫。体积小一点才不会占画面太多。是往这走啊？是往这走啊？是吧？他是导我这样吗？对吗？这里是起点吗 ？Go go go！ 这个他不导览我一下吗？这里。红色人像的花瓶。
Were organized whenever possible in locations such as the stadium, the hippodrome, and the gymnasium. The residents of Alexandria favored such events, where athletes, poets, and musicians from Egypt and other cities of the Greek world competed.
更多资讯。
Like all good Greek cities, Alexandria had a theater. The architecture of this structure is Roman in style.
希兰尼的剧院。
Roman theaters were usually semicircular and built from scratch on a flat area with structures designed to enhance oration.
声调的结构
Greek
设计。
theaters were more oblong in shape, similar to a horseshoe, and favored the slopes of natural hills to
声学
support
设
their
计。
acoustics.
你钓到大叔了。哇塞，以前的人怎么这么有才华啊？以前人可以凭着毫无机械的帮助就盖出这一个又一个建筑，太屌了！柯南
At the theater,
就是
one could witness
米
the
南
plays
德
of
剧集。
contemporary comic and tragic authors. The play you are witnessing below is Menander's Dyskolos, more commonly known as The Grouch, a late and popular entry in the Greek comedies.
希腊喜剧晚期。希腊。谁看得出来啊？救命哦！希腊喜剧中晚期比较受欢迎的。嘿，搞定了。嘿，继续。快速旅行。希罗多德认为，埃及男人待在家里使用织布机，而女人负责跑市集，同时还表示女人站着排尿，男人则是坐着。What？ 第一，读不到。开始导览。
Welcome to Introduction to Alexander.
哦，有了。
After conquering Egypt in 331 BCE, Alexander the Great decided to build a new city, which, as per his habit, he named after himself. After his death, Alexandria quickly became the capital city of the Ptolemaic kingdom and the most important city of the Greek world.
亚历山卓。
After conquering Egypt in 331 BCE, Alexander the Great decided to build a new city, which, as per his habit, he named. The city was built between the Mediterranean Sea and Lake Mareotis, which resulted in Alexandria becoming a crucial cultural hub and trading center. Sumptuous buildings could be seen wherever one turned their gaze. The royal palaces, the many temples, the gymnasium, lush public gardens, and large avenues.
This 城市真的是颇美耶。
With its incomparable beauty and advantageous geographic location, Alexandria attracted foreigners, intellectuals, and traders. One of the most cosmopolitan cities of the ancient world, Alexandria supplanted even Athens as the most important Greek city in history.
雕好再搬上去了。
Egyptian obelisks were highly prized by Roman architects. While Roman design previously favored the use of a single monument, Egyptian obelisks tended to come in pairs and were generally located at the entrance of temples. Several ancient Egyptian obelisks are still in existence today, though many are spread out across the world in locations such as Paris, Rome, New York, and London. All of this shows that Alexandria was significantly influenced by the rich past of Egypt.
Cool. Go, go, go. 他妈妈？这是啥？
Alexandria had several main streets. Its most famous artery was the Canopic Way. It was lined with sumptuous buildings, houses, and temples, and was roughly 8 kilometers in length. This street was one of the most important shipping entrances to Alexandria, and often hosted processions and festivals.
真的很大哎！埃及人怎么这么猛啊？是这样吗？他的怎么看？
Κόπαπας παρά του ιδίου, ίσο φθαλμονίδιο κατασχέθηση.
Egyptian.
Πότε διδάσκεις σε Ελλάδα, τι πω πρώην και εχθές.
The width of the street, 30 meters, was abnormally large even by Greek standards. This is likely because the Canopic Way was made in a short span of time and based on an urban plan, as opposed to being slowly built over time, as was usual for the era.
30公尺哎，就算以希腊标准来看，也非常的大。卡普诺大道是根据都市计划。
Ότι αμελίας, ούγαρ
The Canopic Way originated in the western cemeteries, skirted the gymnasium, and then exited the city to head east through massive doorways towards Canopus. This structure was known as the Canopic Door.
你们要走就走啊，干嘛、要控制人家要不要关台啊？
Welcome to the Siege of Alexandria. Among the collection of writings attributed to Julius Caesar are his descriptions of the Siege of Alexandria, the Gallic Wars, and the commentaries on the Civil War. These archives contain information on different campaigns, the wars of Alexandria, Africa, and Spain. Each of them recounts Caesar's military activity from 58 BCE to 45 BCE. Though Caesar's documents remain a main source of information, it's important to note that the perspective is limited. It is necessary for other historical documents to be taken into consideration to provide a better understanding of events. The Siege of Alexandria closely relays the events of the Civil War that led up to the event and describes how Caesar was besieged in the palace of the Ptolemies. Other ancient authors have left equally valuable and sometimes contradictory information.
会有 VOD 啊，这个它画起来跟它实体做起来的感觉大小不太一样，比例上的感觉不太一样，但我也不得而知。嘿，这个是怎么样？被拉近，嘿咻。听不懂埃及语。
In the events leading up to the siege of Alexandria, Cleopatra VII and her brother were fighting over control of Egypt. Young King Ptolemy XIII's regent, Pothinus, had firm control over the young pharaoh, and an outmaneuvered Cleopatra soon went into hiding. This set the stage for Pompey's arrival in Alexandria. Having lost his battle against Caesar in 48 BCE, the Roman general turned to his allies, the Egyptians, for safe harbor. But on the advice of Pothinus, Ptolemy XIII had Pompey assassinated in the hopes of earning Caesar's favor. This would turn out to be a most unfortunate decision.
年幼的托勒密三世政官。 哦，领到了。好了，下一个。庞培。凯撒并不满意。
Caesar was presented with Pompey's head. The sight of a Roman murdered by Egyptians did not sit well with him. Caesar made his displeasure clear, ordering the return of Cleopatra, and for the siblings to resolve their differences and resume their co-rule of Egypt, as per the will of their father. Neither Pothinus nor Ptolemy XIII wished to accede to this demand. While doing his best to aggravate Caesar, Pothinus secretly plotted against the Roman ruler and sent word for Egyptian general Achilles to bring his 20,000 men to fight on his behalf. While Pothinus plotted against Caesar, Cleopatra made a bold move.
Go. 爬上坡喽！上坡。嗯？怎么这么远？尖塔，方尖塔。太远，这个导览好大啊！撞到他们会不会怎样？不会怎样。他没有箭头，这样等一下我来会不会？我就不知道往哪里走。应该没那么笨。嘿。这远的有点过分哦。到了。
There are various descriptions of the encounter between Caesar and Cleopatra. One report states that she snuck into the palace alone at night. Another account claims she was accompanied by an ally and was brought inside the palace wrapped in a carpet bag. Though exactly what happened at this fateful meeting is up for debate, what is known is that Cleopatra met with Caesar and earned his approval. Pothinus and Ptolemy XIII were most vexed with this turn of events.
哎呀，好，他们在这儿。哎，すいません，すいません。换我跟你跳。来来来，嘿，搔首弄姿，情侣去死团长，就是你，嘿。嘿，嘿，嘿，嘿，好，太灵活了吧，这小孩。好啦，看完他们亲热就可以出来了，继续往下走。就为了看他们亲热，跑这么远，有没有搞错啊？太扯了吧！啦啦啦啦啦！让他们围着我跳舞。我也要，耶耶！试图
With
暗杀。
Cleopatra finally present, Caesar chose to act as mediator between the siblings in the hopes of a peaceful resolution. It did not take long for things to sour. During a banquet given to celebrate the reconciliation, there was an assassination attempt on Caesar. It was the Roman leader's own barber who thwarted the attack. Once it was revealed that the king's regent, Pothinus, had ordered the attack, Caesar had him executed. He then placed the young king under guard.
他们两个瞬移到这了。好酷哦！开走开走开！哎，不要站这个位置。对，站这个位置就可以跟他聊天。有没有？有吧？你看，没很满意。好，滚滚滚！算了，出去了。左边这条。
Caught within the palace with roughly 4,000 troops, and with the knowledge that the arrival of enemy forces was imminent, Caesar sent for help from Syria, Rhodes, and Cilicia. He ordered his men to dig a ditch around the palace and build a wall leading to the harbor. This would ensure Caesar's access to the sea. When Egyptian General Achilles arrived in the city with 20,000 men, the battle for Alexandria began.
所以他们现在在挖沟吗？我怎么觉得游戏里面好像没有这个场景
With so few men at his disposal, Caesar could not risk a battle just yet. He sent ambassadors to Achilles in the name of Ptolemy to propose a truce. Knowing that the orders did not come from the young king, and angered by the pharaoh's imprisonment, Achilles had the messengers assassinated.
阿基拉斯是谁？
With Caesar confined within the palace, Achilles positioned his troops around the city. Skirmishes broke out throughout the streets of Alexandria and went on for several days and nights. Though they were outnumbered, Caesar's men were able to hold the enemy back. This prompted Achilles' next move: capture the Roman fleet stationed in the harbor.
结果，全内耶，全倒。哦，他导览回来就会变是战争的状态，这样。啊。直接超接近。嘿，退，是不是？好，看一下这个捷径，好，我可以骑吗？ 可以耶。
Although the palace offered
Oh.
protection, losing the port meant the
居
end
然还
of
有制
help
作
and
战
supplies.
时的场景。
Caesar knew he had to protect the fleet. While he and his troops succeeded in regaining control of the port, he knew it would be impossible to sustain. Caesar ordered the burning of the ships. With passage back to the palace closed off, he headed for the lighthouse of Alexandria.
刚刚都无吹到啊！
Fighting their way through the Egyptian troops, Caesar and his men eventually reached Pharos Island. There, they took refuge within the lighthouse.
那个灯塔
With
吗？
easy access to the open sea, Caesar was able to send messages to his
不
allies
知道是不是他
requesting
说的是我
reinforcements
那
and more
个
supplies.
本传里，
The
我们最
island
后不
fort
是跟着
also
凯撒
allowed him
冲
to
出去
control
的那
access to
个
the harbor
那
by
个
relying on the chains
过
used by
程
the
吗？
Egyptians to control ship
就
traffic
是凯
to
撒
and
到
from
这个灯塔的过
Alexandria's
程。
docks.
然后后来到这个灯塔以后，就跟我们本传的主角相遇，这样，然后一起冲出，一起突围就对了。不知道是不是在讲那时候的事？哎，这里还有一段。
The exact chronology of events during the war in Alexandria remain imprecise. Conflicting accounts raise questions as to
图书馆
when
被烧毁
and
了。
even if the Great Library of
这个我知道。
Alexandria was burned down at all. One account states that during the fighting, docks and warehouses were burned, and this was the fire that spread to the library. In another account, when Achilles cut off the harbor, Caesar had to leave the safety of the palace to defend his ships. As the enemies battled across the port, their arsenals set ships ablaze, and this... In either case, the Great Library was not completely destroyed. Experts point out that its location was too far from the harbor, and much later texts refer to the Great Library as being intact. Warehouses near the harbor contained manuscript copies awaiting export, and it is more likely that these documents were destroyed than the Great Library itself.
酷哦，下一站。
The destruction of the Great Library may have been due to a number of fires over the ages. Its end was probably closer to the 4th century CE, when the Christian Emperor Theodosius I ordered the closure of all pagan temples. While some documents survived after being moved away, it remains unclear just what knowledge may have been
这
lost.
是大图书馆。
Where there are accounts of Achilles being in control of the battle against Caesar, it appears that instead Cleopatra's sister, siding with her brother, had him killed and put her ally Ganymedes in his place. Ganymedes proved a valuable tactician for the Egyptian side. It was his idea to cut Caesar's access to the harbor, thus trapping Caesar at the palace.
我也要学习，走开，换个位置。你好，我来讲课，有没有？
During the time of Ptolemy I, canals had been dug throughout Alexandria to provide fresh water. Ganymedes had his men take control of these canals. After isolating their own water supply, he had his men pour salt water into the canals and cisterns that led to Caesar's camp.
灯塔。烧掉的亚历山大图书馆。Go。这个吧。
Panic erupted in Caesar's
叉叉叉
men.
叉
They
叉
wouldn't
叉叉
last
VII
long without fresh water. Recognizing that the porous limestone could help them, Caesar and his men dug wells to restore their water supply. Days later, the 37th Legion, comprised of Pompey's soldiers, arrived by ship. Unable to come ashore due to the winds, Caesar risked going out to meet them on the peninsula, Cape Chersonese. When the enemy learned Caesar's location, they rushed to intercept. Despite an obvious advantage for the Alexandrians, Caesar, with a Rhodian ship full of skillful sailors, emerged victorious.
凯撒也是命大呢。
With help from the Allied ships, Caesar's victory enabled him to push the Egyptians back and secure the lighthouse. Gaining control of Pharos Island sent the Alexandrians into the sea and swimming back to the city. However, Caesar's fortification of the island didn't last long. The enemy regrouped and were set to storm the island. Panic-stricken, in spite of Caesar's encouragement, many of his men then fled their posts, either by ship or jumping into the sea.
Οφθαλμούσου
操烫。
κατέχεις, είτε του οίκου σου.
距今2500年前的。
Caesar attempted to retreat, but Port Eunostos' harbor was overrun with enemy ships, preventing escape. Reportedly, Caesar gathered his papers and leapt overboard in an attempt to swim to an Allied ship farther out. Historian Cassius Dio claimed that Caesar would have drowned if he hadn't been able to remove his purple garment. Still, he managed to swim the distance and survive. The Alexandrians recovered the cloak and used it as a trophy to commemorate the Roman debacle. Unhappy with Ganymedes and wanting their king restored, the Alexandrians approached Caesar with a compromise. Caesar agreed to release Ptolemy XIII after entreating him to spare the kingdom and remain loyal to Rome. Once freed, however, the king defied the agreement and continued the war.
Huh?
By this time, a faithful ally of Caesar's, Mithridates, arrived in Egypt, clashing with Ptolemy's troops at Pelusium. Outnumbering the enemy, Mithridates secured the region between Pelusium and Alexandria. Ptolemy, warned of Caesar's ally marching on Alexandria, sent his troops to prevent passage over the river. Mithridates warned Caesar in time, and the two groups confronted the armies of Ptolemy in the Delta. In the Battle of the Nile, the Romans gained the upper hand, sending the Egyptians fleeing. In the tumult and panic, King Ptolemy XIII drowned in the Nile.
我觉得可能是那个英文发音的 Caesar 跟那个埃及的发音的 Caesar 可能是不太一样，埃及可能就会很像凯撒的发音，我觉得啦。可是我不懂埃及语。
Ptolemy XIV, enabling her to reign over Egypt until 30 BCE. Under her rule, Alexandria settled into its position within the Roman Empire, and eventually surpassed Athens as one of the most important cities in the Roman Empire.
艳后还
Julius
嫁给他
Caesar
弟弟哦。
remained in Egypt for a short time. He and Cleopatra would later have a son named Caesarion.
耶，完成喽！嫩，嫩，跑哦，跑了好远哦。还很多哎，还有金字塔等等的导览，哇！我光亚历山大我都逛不完了。换个人，换艾雅好了。
Welcome to Alexandria. The ports of Alexandria were a major commercial hub, effectively connecting Egypt with the Mediterranean regions and beyond. A tremendous amount of materials and goods flowed through the city on a daily basis. The large port market was called the Emporion. It was there that merchandise was traded by the ship owners, called nakliros.
他可以用那些奇怪的啊，为什么要站在上面？我要站在这里叫卖。没有没有，没人杀价了，最低的。把他赶走，我要站这个位置。我都没有动作。 你要有动作啊！
Food and other artisan work streamed out of Egypt. Ceramics, glass, golden rings, and minted coinage. The local potters, using traditional Egyptian techniques, competed with those from abroad, and the textile industry flourished.
这里是禁止打架的博
What
物馆。
Egypt did not produce itself was acquired through trade, using local resources such as wheat and papyrus. Most sought after was pine wood from Syria, iron and marble from
你有看过
Greek
谁会在
islands,
博物馆里面打
gold
架的
from
吗？
Spain, and exotic fruits from Europe. All this commercial activity contributed to the already decadent wealth of the city. The wood imported to Port Mareotis through Alexandria's seaward ports was used in the nearby shipyards, where most of Egypt's ships were built. Employing tens of thousands of shipbuilders, the shipyards contributed to establishing the
这
Egyptian
船
fleet
也太他
as one
妈
of the
的
mightiest
扯
of the
了
era.
吧！
Any wood not used in shipbuilding was further disseminated through Egypt for various purposes.
来给火烤一下就会干了。这里没有火，哦，这里没有火。QQ。
The southern port of Lake Mariotis was the biggest in Alexandria.
你看这游戏可以
Save
靠
for
这
a
些奇怪
branch
的
angling westward, the lake size in the
平面图
Ptolemaic
就把它
era
们做
was
成这
roughly
样，真的
40
很
to
猛。
50 kilometers from north to
他
south.
们要花多久时
Its
间在设
waters
计
were
整个城市
maintained？by a steady runoff from the Nile.
他们整个
In
重新
addition
建
to
构
the lake, a man-made canal was created to assist in the transfer of goods from the city to the port using barges, though it is not represented in the game due to its size. Banking was one of the most distinctive innovations brought by the Greeks to Egypt. The centerpiece of Alexandria's wealth was the royal systematization of taxes on almost everything. Basic items such as salt, oil, beer, wheat, and linen were heavily taxed.
我发现
As
错
a
字了，
result, the royal treasury of Alexandria was able
像
to
是的像
ensure the economic stability of most of the administrative areas of Egypt.
Φίλε, νικήκαμε τις πάλι. Νικήκαμε τους εχθρούς ημών. Ελεύθεροι βιώσομενοι στο μέλλον. Μάλα, χαίρε. 5 και 10, ο κλάσης αυτός 5 και 10 δρακόνες. Αλεπόσφαιρο του ήρεμου. Ένα ευρωλίγη χαρά.
Relax εσύ.
Μέραν ταύτην περισσότερων βλακών διυπομένην. Αχ, τις αργανίες αμάρτηταν. Αχ, ο ήλιε μου.
By the late 12th century, the channel feeding the lake from the Nile silted up. Lake Mariotis lost its connection to the Mediterranean, as well as most of its water, as the lake slowly evaporated to a fraction of its former size. In modern times, Lake Mariotis is being kept alive through irrigation. However, only about 17% of its original size remains.
嗯，再回来看这个游戏，还是会觉得他做的真的很精致，而且还一个个导览，有没有？让你不管过了多久，你不想打架，也可以回来看看美美的世界，看看博物馆。好了，今天就先这样，啵啵。